Hello, this is Dr. Kerin14e, your instructor for Marketing 350, and this is Chapter 20. In Chapter 20, let's talk about personal selling and sales management, two very important parts of marketing. Okay, we'll talk about the nature, scope of personal selling, and what sales management is, the steps of personal selling, and the stages of sales management. Okay? First, what is personal selling? Okay? Personal selling is a two-way flow of communication between a buyer and seller, often in a face-to-face encounter, designed to influence a person's or group's purchase decision. That's personal selling. Okay? And sales management consists of planning the selling program and implementing and evaluating the personal selling efforts of the company, of the firm. Okay? Normally, these are the two separate areas or aspects of personal selling, sales management, and normally we have a class in personal selling, another class in sales management. At USCA, we have a class in sales management that I teach normally in fall, and also that includes some part of personal selling. We don't have a class that's dedicated to personal selling, but you get the idea, okay? Selling actually happens almost everywhere, to almost everybody. Everyone lives by selling something. Think about that. Think about it, okay? When you were in your elementary school, you were probably part of the Boy Scout, Girl Scout. You sell those Boy Scout, Girl Scout, cookies, right? And that's selling, okay? And for example, you're working on your college degree. Once you get out of here, you graduate, you're going to, try to find a job with a company, with an employer. That's also personal selling. You're selling yourself. Not really yourself physically, but you're selling your what? Your education, your expertise, your insights, and your ability. Basically, you want to demonstrate that what you have earned through college education, sell to the potential employer for a good price, which is your salary. Okay? Also, 20% of CEOs, chief executive officers of companies, have some sales experience. The roles of personal selling. If you think about that, salespeople are actually the critical link between firm and customers. Okay? You have a company, you have a firm, you have a product, who are the people who actually get the product to the customers? It is the sales force, your salespeople. They are the link. Okay? Salespeople are the company in the consumer's eyes. To those customers or consumers, the buyers, when they hear that you're from XYZ company, you are the company. You represent the company. And also personal selling may play a dominant role in firms' marketing. You have a marketing strategy. Who is there to carry it out? It's your salesperson. Okay? And oftentimes you have business, your business is very successful, and you may want to go public with that instead of keeping that as a personal, private, or family-owned business. When you go public, you need to sell your concept to investors so they can either buy your company, invest in your company, or help you go IPO, initial public offering. If you look at the selling sales management, salespeople really are here to create customer solutions and value. And that's what they have to do. So for salespeople, they must first identify creative solutions to customer problems. Okay? And also they need to ease the customer's buying process, make it easier for them. Okay? And also you need to make after the sale follow-up. Not just one sale, you need to keep them happy so they'll come back to buy from you again and again. Also, selling salespeople are actually practicing nowadays, relationship selling. Relationship selling is a practice of building ties to customers based on a salesperson's attention and commitment to customers' needs over time. In other words, you want to build a relationship, not just one-time sales. You build your ties with customers. You create mutual respect and trust, okay, so you can keep the relationship. Also, companies use a partnership selling. That is called enterprise selling. Basically, buyers and sellers combine expertise and resources to create customized solutions. It's called partnership selling. The practice whereby buyers and sellers combine their expertise and resources to create customized solutions, commit to joint planning, and share customer, competitive, and company info for the mutual benefit, and ultimately the benefit, excuse me, of the customer is also called enterprise selling. Okay? And there are many forms of personal selling. One is order taker, and that's the easy one. And you, as order taker, you visit customers and replenish inventory. And there could be outside order takers. You go out visit customers. There could be inside order takers, like order clerks or sales clerks or inbound telemarketing, okay? Taking phone calls from your customer, and or represent products with few options, okay? That's inside order takers or versus outside order takers. They are another form of personal selling is order getting or order getter. Order getters actually, identify prospective customers and go out and get customers. And they identify prospects. Then they provide customers with information, and they persuade customers to buy, and they close the sales, sign the contract, and then they follow up on customers' use of product. Okay? They are the outside. They could be the outside order getters, or could be the inside order getters. Okay? That's order getter. Let's look at how an outside order getter salespeople spend their time each week. Okay, a typical salesperson, they would spend 36% of the time selling by phone or face to face with the customers. They may spend 32% of the time answering service calls, travel, training, or doing customer follow up, etc. Okay? They may spend about 17% of the time attending meetings or do some administrative tasks. Okay? And 15% of the time is spent on generating leads and researching accounts. Okay? When we say accounts in sales professionals, in sales management, we mean a customer. An account is a customer. Okay? Also, there are different types of salespeople. Okay? There are the missionary salespeople. Missionary salespeople oftentimes do not take commissions. They just earn a flat salary. Okay? They normally do things like introduce new products to customers. Okay? They are the sales engineers, and we call them engineers because they identify, analyze, and solve problems for your customer. They are team selling, basically the practice of using an entire team of professionals in selling to and servicing major customers. Okay, and they use professionals because maybe your product is so too complicated or very technically advanced. You need team selling. There's also conference selling, where you have a conference call to meet to discuss opportunities. There's also seminar selling, like you have an educational program, like a seminar to educate your customers and make the sales. Okay. And if you look at the cross-functional team selling, 75% of companies employ cross-functional teams. That you have team selling team, that consists of people from maybe finance, R&D, productions, operations, and marketing, right? And they work with the customers to create value for the customers. Companies like Xerox, IBM, DuPont, Procter & Gamble are using this team selling, cross-functional selling teams. What are the stages of the personal selling process? Okay, let's analyze that. Analyze the stages of personal selling, okay, and the objectives and each. Okay, the first stage is prospecting, find the prospect. Second, pre-approach. 3, approach. 4, presentation. 5, close. And 6, follow-up. Okay. What do you do in the prospecting, the first stage? You search for and qualify your prospects, okay? And that's the start of the selling process, okay? You can find your prospects through advertising, referrals, or cold canvassing, okay? We'll talk about that in a second. And once you identified your prospect, you go to the second stage, pre-approach. Before you approach them, right? What do? You gather information and decide on how to approach the prospect, okay? It's not that easy, it's not that easy. People are busy, and they normally do not want people to come and bother them, okay? So you search information, information sources include personal observations and other customers and your own salespeople. Then you get ready to approach. Basically, you gain your prospect attention, stimulate interest, and make a transition to the presentation in approach them. And first impression here is very critical. Okay, you gain attention and interest through reference to common acquaintances, a referral, or a product demo. Okay. Next stage is presentation. Basically, you begin converting a prospect into a customer by creating a desire for the product or service you're offering. Okay? You may have different presentations format, like however, involving the customer in the product service through the attention to particular need is critical. Okay? And then after you give the presentation, the next stage is close. You have to close the deal, sign the contract. Okay? Basically, you obtain a purchase commitment and from the prospect and create a customer. Once they sign the contract, they are a customer of yours. Okay? You ask for the purchase. You can use different approaches, okay? Such as trial close or assumptive close. Okay? And then follow-up. Stage 6 is follow-up. You want to ensure that the customer is satisfied with the product or service. Okay? Resolve any problem faced by the customers to ensure their satisfaction and the future sales possibilities. So these are the 6 stages of personal selling. This will be in your test. Okay? Make sure you study them well. Okay? Personal selling process. Let's talk more in details. Prospecting stage. Identify and qualify prospects. Right? The type of prospects. There's a lead. That's just some lead information about the potential buyer. Then there's a prospect. Okay? There's among the leads. There are the companies that you think might be interested. Have a high likelihood of being your customer. And then there's a qualified prospect. You got to find a customer that has the need and the ability to pay. Okay? How do you find the prospects? You can use cold canvassing. Just go door by door, block by block, zip code by zip code, or an NSS code by code. Okay? Or you can use cold calling. Get the phone numbers and just call and introduce yourself. Okay? You do that. That's a prospecting stage. Okay? The first stage. Second stage, pre-approach. You prepare for the sales. Use different methods here, right? And you want to try to meet the expectations and try to find the time to contact them. Okay? Gather the information, learn about your customers, gather all those information needed. Okay, the pre-approach. Then the approach, make the first impression, meet the customer. When you get a chance to meet them, you want to establish rapport with them. Okay, you follow their customs. Okay, especially in international sales. Okay, and you pay attention to gestures, cultural norms. Okay, and the next stage is the presentation. There is the stimulus response presentation. What is that? It's a sales presentation format that assumes that given the appropriate stimulus by a salesperson, and the prospect will buy. Give them a stimulus, and hopefully they give a response. And also you may use the suggestive selling, okay? Give them the suggestions. There's also the formula setting presentation. It's a sales presentation format that consists of information that must be provided in an accurate, thorough, and step-by-step manner to inform the prospect, right? Also, they call it canned sales presentation, okay? That's the presentation stage. And the presentation formats, you can use need, need satisfaction presentation. There's a sales presentation format that emphasizes probing and listening by the salesperson to identify needs and interests of prospective buyers, okay? Satisfy their needs. You need to use adaptive selling. What is adaptive selling? It's a need satisfaction presentation format that involves adjusting the presentation to fit the selling situation, such as knowing when to offer solutions and when to ask for more information, okay? Because you're a real live person there, so you can be adaptive. Okay, also you can use a consultative selling. That is a need satisfaction presentation format that focuses on the problem identification, where the salesperson serves as an expert on problem recognition and resolution. So basically serving as like a consultant, okay? That's a consultative selling. And next stage, as a salespeople, you will hear objections. You will meet objections from your customers, okay? How do you handle those objections? And first you need to acknowledge and convert objections, right? And then sometimes you might be able to postpone the objection. For example, some say, some may ask you right away, how much, You probably don't want to tell them right away. You may scare them off. You can say, I want to show you the features, benefits first, and then in the end, I'll tell you about the pricing. Okay? And you can agree and neutralize the objection. Okay? And you can use accept the objection. Sometimes it's a valid, acceptable objection. Sometimes the objections could be not on solid ground, and it could be false. You just deny it. You have to deny it, okay? Nicely, okay? And sometimes they say something, they object, and that may not really mean to be doing so or say so. In that case, you can ignore the objection, but be very careful in doing that, okay? If they bring up the concern or objection again, you have to face it, okay? And companies also want solutions to problems, okay? So you as salespeople, you need to meet the requirements. You need design to uniquely solve the problem for them, okay? And the solution can be implemented. You have to ensure there's a follow-up process, okay? Close stage, next stage is closing. Basically, it's just asking for order, okay? You can use a trial close, like say, okay, maybe say after your presentation, you say, looks like, we're able to come up with the agreement. So, and how about I put down an order for 20 tons of this so-and-so for your company now, okay? And two, you can use assumptive close. Assumptive close is more like, you can assume that you have answered all their questions. They're happy with that. You can try attempt that. Sometimes you may give an urgency clause. I don't really like that very much, but I guess people don't really like that. Sometimes if that's truly the case, say, hey, we have a special offer, you know, just only get valid for this week. So give them a sense of urgency to help you close. Okay? And then after you close the deal, sign the contract, they become customers, you need to follow up. In the follow-up stage, you need to solidify the relationship, okay? So they will have, repeat sales from you. And they may refer you to other customers, other people, other potential customers. So you get referrals, okay? So that's professional selling. Let's move on to sales management process. Basically, sales management process involves sales plan formation, implementation, and Salesforce evaluation. In sales plan formulation, you set your objectives, you organize your sales force, you develop account management policies. Okay? And then in implementation, you recruit and select your sales force, hire your people, train them, and then motivate them, and pay them, compensate them. Okay? And then in the evaluation stage, you can use some quantitative assessment tools to evaluate how well they did over the year, the quarter, or use some behavior evaluation, like number of customers visited, or a number of accounts, new accounts opened. Okay? First, in the sales plan, what is sales plan? A sales plan is a statement describing what is to be achieved and where and how the selling effort of salespeople is to be deployed. That's your sales plan. As a sales manager, you're supposed to come up with a plan. Okay? You need to set your objective. The objective could be output related, like dollars, how much dollars, or units, volumes sold. Okay? It could be input related, how much you put in, how much you spend. Could be behaviorally related, meaning how many visits, how many customers you visited, how many new customers you have acquired. Okay? It could be competition related to how you did compare with your competitors. Okay? So asking customers about competitors. So what do you think? Can you or should salespeople ask customers about competitors? Your competitor? Ask them, because your competitors have also approached them, right? Your customers, right? So you have a chance there. Do you want to ask them questions about that? Salespeople often have first-hand knowledge. They're able to spot activities of competitors. So should they ask customers about competitors' strategies? Okay? And that's an interesting question. I wanted to think about that and also think about reading the chapters. Okay? Next is sales plan formulation, forming your sales plan. You need to organize your sales force. Organizing your sales force, you can do that by geography, uses regions of the country, or states or cities, zip codes. You can use customer for different markets, different type of customers. Or if you have many product lines, you can use product and as a way to organize your sales force. Okay. Another thing is you want to consider is, say, for example, if you're a small company or you start your own company, you have great product, you think it's going to be a big hit, you want to sell it, right? Now, how do you sell it? Okay? There are two choices for you to make. Okay? You can either hire someone as your salesperson, pay the person a salary and commission, or hire someone as independent agent. That person is not your own employee, but the agent, independent one. Okay? They sell your product on the commission. So which one of the two should you use? Okay? This is the break-even chart for comparing a company's sales force and independent agents. How do you understand this? X-axis is company sales, let's say in millions of dollars, millions of dollars. And then Y-axis is company selling cost. That's a cost, right? This is revenue coming in sales. This is a cost. If you look at this red line here, okay, this is for the independent agent selling cost. It starts from zero because if they don't sell anything, you don't pay them anything, right? You pay them on a commission. That's why it goes up like this. It goes up like a straight line like this, okay? The red line, or dark red line, okay? And then that's one thing, right? And if you have a company's sales force, you hire someone to be your salesperson. Even though the person initially may not be able to sell anything, you still have to pay them some money, right? So let's say you spend, $500,000 to hire, a bunch of salespeople. So even when they are not selling anything, you still have to pay them. So you start from here. This blue line here, okay, it goes like this. This line is not as steep as this red line because for your own salespeople, you pay them a base salary plus a commission, okay? So the line is not as steep, okay? Somewhere here, these two lines will intersect. That's what we call the break-even point. Meaning, what do we mean by break-even point? Okay? This corresponds to $25 million in sales. And at this point, independent agent and company sales force selling are equal at this much, $25 million in sales. In other words, if they sell, you can sell $25 million worth of product. You can either use salesperson or independent agent. They're the same to you. The cost is the same, right? The revenue is here, the cost is here the same. But below that, which one is more economical to you? Below that, to the left of this dashed line, you can see this red line is below the blue line, right? So it's better for you to hire an independent agent before this point, break-even point. After this break-even point, you'll be better off hiring your own salespeople, okay? This is how you understand this break-even chart. How do you organize your sales force? These are the graphs. You have those in your book. Please read carefully. You can organize your sales force, salespeople by geographical, like that. Or use your customers, or use a product, a different type of product. Okay. And this is by geographical sales organization. You have a general sales manager here. Eastern region, Western region. Eastern region, you have District 1, District 2, and the individual salespeople. Okay. This is by customer. You have general manager here. You have sales manager to just auto industry, and another manager to just farm and construction equipment company. And then under each, you have district sales managers and the salespeople. Okay, the customer sales organization. There's a product sales organization. You have GM here. You have divisional sales manager for product A, another for product B. For the product A, you have a regional, eastern, western regional manager, and the regional manager have district managers, and then you have salespeople. Yes, it is a lot in the hierarchy. Okay? You, as a college graduate marketing student, you probably start off as a salesperson. You move up to district sales manager, to regional sales manager, divisional sales manager, general sales manager, or vice president of marketing sales, or eventually to a CEO or president of the company. Okay? There are some terms I want you to remember, understand. One is called key account management. What is key account management? It's practice of using team selling to focus on important customers so as to build mutually beneficial long-term cooperative relationships. Okay, focus on important customers, the key customers. Okay, and the Salesforce recruitment and selection. In the process of that, you need to conduct job analysis and have good job descriptions, and also you need to look at their emotional intelligence. What is emotional intelligence, or EQ? This ability to understand one's own emotions and the emotions of people with whom one interacts on a daily basis. You can see that some of our people, some of us have high EQ, higher EQ, some have lower EQs, right? And also for training. You need to train them on the job or use other methods to train them. Okay? EQ is important. Right? EQ is important. Here, there's an emotional intelligence quiz here. You can take the quiz, find out for yourself, what's your EQ. You might be surprised. Okay? And the emotional intelligence includes self-motivation skills, how to motivate yourself. Okay? Self-awareness, know yourself. Okay? Managing your emotions. How do you manage your emotions? About empathy toward other people, and social skills. These are all parts of emotional intelligence. Okay? Also, another thing you need to consider is to motivate your sales force and compensate them. Okay? Because the people are, you can see, we tend to relax, to become lazy or not so hardworking from time to time, right? And sometimes we don't get the sales, we become frustrated. So as a sales manager, you need to motivate your salespeople, and you need to give them good compensation, right? And first, you need to have a clear job description for them so they know exactly what they're supposed to do. Okay? You need to have effective sales management practices. You need to realize their personal need for achievement. Okay? And you need to give them proper compensation. Straight salary is one way, straight commission is another way, but combination is more often, both salary and commission. And sometimes you give a non-monetary rewards. You see this pink Cadillac? Okay? Avon does that. Every year they have a convention. They give their top salespeople a pink Cadillac. Measuring results. How do you evaluate your sales plan? Okay? You can use quantitative assessments, either input related, output related, or whether they meet the sales quota. What is sales quota? That consists of specific goals assigned to a salesperson, sales team, branch sales office, or sales district for a stated period of time. That's like a quarter or a year. If they have met the quota, they've done well, have done well. If not, not so well. Okay? You can use behavior evaluation, like subjective measures, or use customer satisfaction to measure. Okay? This is example, more chemical and sanitation supply company. They track the salesperson's performance. If you look at the gross margin and selling expenses, you see that. Okay? This is the sales revenue. This is target here, okay, 100% target. The sales revenue actual as a percent of target is actually over 100%. Excuse me. The trend is upwards, right? They achieved the actual sales of $900,000 in sales. Okay, but the gross margin is actually going down. Gross margin, and why the gross margin is margin down is because of their selling expense is high. It's on the rise, 162,000. Right. Therefore, the profit is also down to 193. Okay, even though their actual average order size, number of new customers about the same, just meeting the goal. They even have higher customer satisfaction than expected. So for this company, for this group of salespeople, how would you evaluate their performance? They're doing fine, getting new customers, they make customer happy, and our average order size is good. but the selling expense is a little bit out of control. They spend too much. So you need to curb the expenses so as to bring the profit and gross margin on the target. Okay. Next is CRM, or Customer Relationship Management. Basically, it's a convergence of computing, information, communication, and internet technology. It's a computer software system. It consolidates customer and sales information, improves business relationships, and therefore create value for your customers, the CRM. Okay? And so also there's a Salesforce Automation, SFA, use of computer information communication and internet technologies to make sales function more effective and efficient, called Salesforce Automation. Okay? And they use Salesforce technology, Salesforce communications, etc. Okay? And there's marketing automation, basically using technologies, applied system and technology to the marketing process, provides intelligence to Salesforce, identify qualified prospects, provides sales support, attracts customer buying, and identify new opportunities. There's new trends here. Okay? Customer service and support automation. You've probably seen that, all right? When you as a customer contacts a service provider, you'll probably be meeting with some of their automated, customer service and support system. Okay, basically the processes and technology that supply customers with the information, and sometimes so-called live chat may not be that live person chat. Okay, they provide a single source for problem solving. Companies spend $37 billion a year on CRM applications. Okay. I think that's all I have for this chapter, personal selling and Salesforce management. I'll see you next time.